Hello fellow YouTubers, in this video I'm gonna show you this Motorola Moto G device that I've been using for a few weeks now. Now I already opened up the box because obviously I needed to use the device itself. So once you open the box you see the device itself, which would look like so. Then it would be covered by this plastic protector. And you would have some manuals obviously. That would look like so. And you have a micro USB cable. Surprise, surprise, there's no wall charger, but you can use pretty much any charger that you have for the USB because you already have a USB to micro USB cable, or you can use your PC, laptop, or any other device. Now, so in this video, what we're gonna do is first I'm gonna show you the device itself. I'm gonna talk a little bit about the hardware side. Then we're going to go through the menus. I'm going to show the applications and what they do. I'm going to show you also the camera side of it. Might even show you some neat features of the camera there if I have enough lighting. Followed by some system management things. So basically multitasking and the top bar from where you can select your application notifications and things like that. And obviously, because it says drafts channel and we do like benchmarking everything, I'm going to show you some benchmarks of this phone as well and compare it to other phones here on the market. And of course, last but not least, we're going to sum everything up and I'm going to just say, tell you what I think about the device, whether I like it or not, and whether I can recommend it to you guys. So let's get started. In terms of the physical looks, that's the front of the phone. So you just have screen, speaker, and the 1.3 megapixel camera. On the side, you have a lock and unlock button that also can help you to switch your profiles, which is standard, and you have a volume rocker up and down. The feel from these buttons is quite nice, nothing to complain about. On the bottom, you have a micro USB charging port, which is pretty much standard these days, although this is about to change, but that will take a while. On the back, we have once again a speaker and an LED flash, and a 5 megapixel camera. Now, in terms of the screen itself, just give me 1 sec, I'm gonna unlock it. So that's the screen. It's a 4.5 inches, or basically around 11.5 centimeters. And as you already noticed, we have back, home, and multitasking button already here on the screen incorporated. So when you watch a video or something, obviously these disappear. But for the main use, you really have this square because on the top you have your standard indicator, which basically shows what's happening. Now, in terms of the hardware, it has a quad-core 1.2 gigahertz Qualcomm Snapdragon 400 CPU, which is plenty fast for most of my use. And it also has an 8 gigabyte or 16 gigabyte storage versions. Now, in terms of the storage, I'm just going to quickly show you there. There we go. Internal storage available, we have only 3.8 gigabytes. However, I already have about 500 megabytes or so worth of software installed. So you can call it 4.3 gigabytes right out of the box. So basically about half of what it states on the packaging. But you must understand that obviously your OS and things like that, would take the storage space as well. In terms of the battery is built in. Now, cover can be removed. You basically hold your finger like this and you put your nail here and you just basically peel it open. Not the easiest procedure on the Galaxy. It's much easier. This back cover is much more sturdy and it makes it quite a bit harder to remove. Inside, you would use a micro SIM card, as usual for most of the phones these days. Now, in terms of the overall size of the phone, we have about 13 centimeters or 5 inches. And here we have 6.5 centimeters or 2.5 inches. And for thickness, I'd say it's about a centimeter. Last but not least, in terms of connectivity, obviously you can connect your 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. You have a Wi-Fi, you have a mobile network, which can go as far as I remember up to 3.5 G. It doesn't go to 4G network. It has a Bluetooth 4.0 and obviously GPS. So pretty much standard features for nowadays phone. Camera has some hidden gems in there, which we're gonna go through a bit later. So yeah, screen once again is very nice, very vivid, and it's 720p, which is plenty for me for that size screen anyway. Now, in terms of the software, so obviously it's running Android 4.3, and Motorola guarantees that you're gonna get the next upgrade as well. Now, from the unlock screen, basically you press it, you have either just a kind of slide to open, or you can have a pin, or you can have a pattern basically. If you just slide it back on the left, you can choose whatever applications you want, and that's pretty much standard Android experience. And on the right, you would have camera straight away. So even without unlocking phone, you can use the camera, which is nice. And you obviously have emergency calls and a Google app. Okay, so once you log in, you have the main screen, and on the left you have another 2 screens, and on the right you have another 2 screens. As far as I know, you can just pinch to zoom or whatever and remove those screens, 2 on the left and 2 on the right. So the 5 screens are pretty much standard and non-removable. Unless you install a third-party software, then you can do that, of course. Already comes with a bunch of Google applications pre-installed, which I'm not going to go through. Obviously, Play Store. Duolingo is just my application. Maybe I'm going to use just to start learning another language. And these are the benchmarks I'm going to show you a bit later in terms of what hardware can do. Now, so checking the applications on the bottom, once you press dialer, you have the call log, you have contacts, and you have standard kind of dialer. Your Google browser is standard, which everybody knows about, and your applications is from Google as well, and you have obviously camera. Now, the main menus contain something like that. Obviously, it would depend on the region where you are. From Motorola, we have an assist software, which basically when you have a meeting set up in your calendar, you just click on that and you can either select silence, auto reply, and you can have a bit more options. So that's pretty nice to have and pretty handy, especially like for the sleeping. You can set, let's say from 10 o'clock to 6 o'clock, the phone doesn't ring, it goes on silent. However, we have special options here, like for instance, if somebody calls you twice within 5 minutes, they will be able to reach you, which let's say we will select. Next is the camera, the camera has also the Motorola features. It's basically Motorola based camera. Other than that, we have Motorola Migrate and Moto Care, which basically is, as you would imagine, you can either search for help, you can chat, or you can call Motorola, which is nice to have. I haven't used it yet, so I can't say whether it's good or bad, but it's there. Settings pretty much standard. Once again, you have, the only thing is Motorola Privacy and Motorola Device. Motorola Privacy about the collecting your information and sending to Motorola anonymously, so they could improve services or do whatever they like with it pretty much. And Motorola Device ID is if your device is lost or stolen, you can lock, break, and do whatever you want with your device. So nice to have, and do recommend to register on that. And that's pretty much it in settings. So not much of Motorola optimizations. Everything is more or less vanilla. Now widgets, just gonna go quickly through them in case you are interested. Weeks. I had the phone, by the way, for a couple of weeks already. Battery does last about 2 days for me, or 1 day if I'm using it really hard, so that's nice. By the way, very last application I nearly forgot is FM radio. It does work. You can scan, obviously you need to plug in headphones, and you can scan for the stations. There's all your stations. You can select favorites and they would all obviously appear here. So let's say we go for 98 FM and it's already there. So then you can just click whatever you want and it's going to play. It says now playing. However, you do need headphones to start playing that. Now, in terms of the camera, first I'm going to just show you some settings. So here we have HDR, which I always leave it at auto. It helps in some pictures. And we have flash, on, off, or auto. We have here control focus and exposure. And obviously take picture at the same time with the same button. Next we have slow motion video, which I might or might not show because I don't really have enough lighting at the moment. We have obviously panorama, geotagging 16.9, which is actually zoomed in. If you look now at the moment, I have all the box kind of covered. And if I select that off, I still have all box covered, plus on the top I have extra. So I would recommend deselect that unless you're just using the phone pictures for sharing. Obviously the screen went dim because I'm just in the menus at the moment, and you have camera shutter speed, sound on or off, which is nice. Okay, so back to the camera app itself. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a picture and share it with you. And also I'm going to take a quick video. So I'm going to switch now to this device, and I'm going to just do a voiceover there. So here I am recording with the Moto G. This is handheld. Just showing you the box and the cable that I showed you before, how it looks like. So this is the quality. Now you might get some banding there from the lights because I'm using fluorescent lights and they're going at about 60 Hertz. So because the camera shutter speed is automatic, it might introduce some banding, but this is normal for pretty much any camera that automatically controls shutter. Okay, so that was the short clip from Moto G, including the audio. So to switch on the slow motion, we'll just give it a try anyway. We just click on that. Now there will be no sound, however the slow motion is working. So we have a spinning coin. Done. And we're going to see in the post how it looks like. Now, in the terms of the multitasking and things like that, so when you click the button here, we have all the applications that we had on. Now, some of them are already switched off. However, some of them are still running. So let's just switch them on and let's see how the multitasking would work. Okay, so I'm now back on the main screen. I switch this button again. We go to 3D Mark. Next, we can go to this. Next, we can go to something else. And then we go to something else again. There we go. So as you see, multitasking is pretty neat and pretty fast. Doesn't take too much time. In terms of the information bar on the top, so here I have a meeting profile, which is basically Motorola's help here once I'm in the meeting. It's not going to disturb me. I'm going to say I'm not in the meeting. And here on the top right corner, we have a little button that would switch on all the controls. So we have brightness, settings, internet, Vodafone, which basically if I click, that's your network provider, and you can either switch on or off mobile data. One thing is, once you switch something on or off, let's say, oh, we're gonna go and switch on Bluetooth, I'm gonna go back and switch on 3G. So I'm gonna go into Bluetooth, let's say switch it on, back, and I'm back out in my main screen, so I have to swipe it down, go there, and switch on the 3G, which is not the most convenient thing to do. But for that, I suppose you can just use settings and go through the settings menu instead. But still, this is your tray pretty much. And once you have notifications, you can slide them to either side, just basically to remove them. Same would be with the multitasking. You can just basically slide everything out that you don't need and remove them one by one. There you go. Next, for those who are interested in benchmarks, I can tell you straight away that it's pretty much identical to Samsung Galaxy S3, which is about twice more expensive even now. So benchmarks. You can obviously select your device and benchmark it as well. As you see, we have 17,425 on this particular benchmark. Next, I'm going to show you the Velamo benchmark as well, which I did. And these are the scores. Once again, you can compare it to your own device. followed by quadrant standard. I just had to quickly rerun it. So basically my device is here. Now, first thing you're going to notice, it's a huge increase even over the HTC One X. Now, this is not exactly accurate because if you look at the blue, that's basically your CPU score followed by the memory, which is pretty much identical in some top tier devices. Then we have input and output, which is once again the same situation. And 2D and 3D actually not much better than anything else. If you look at the 2D, it's barely noticeable there. And 3D is pretty much the same as everything else. So in terms of performance, once again, it's good, but it's not top tier. But at the same time, once again, guys, this is a budget smartphone, so it does really well in terms of that. Now, 3D Mark is next. Okay, so there we have it, Ice Storm 5420, and in terms of the scores, basically we have 5420 overall, graphics 5212, physics 6302, graphics test 125 FPS, graphics test 220.7 FPS, physics test 20 FPS, date obviously today, OS version 4.3, and if we look at the devices here, there's some comparisons. Okay, so final thoughts. In terms of the physical aspects of the device, it's pretty neat. The only thing I don't like is the back cover. First, it's a fingerprint magnet, as you see. It's a matte and really attracts fingerprints. And it's not the easiest thing to clean. Also, talking about the same back cover, it's hard to remove. And as you see, you have to put your nail there pretty much in micro USB port, which if you have a nail that's too long, or if you try too hard, you might clip the micro USB port, which is, as you know, is very fragile. And for that reason, I don't really like the back cover. Also, when you remove the back cover, you have the lithium-ion battery. I'm not going to show you that, unfortunately, because it's really hard to remove this cover and I don't want to mess around with it. But basically, battery is non-removable. If and once you get the device, you will see that the battery is basically plugged in and integrated. However, it wouldn't be too hard for Motorola to make that that battery removable, so I don't know why they went this way, but anyway. Nothing else really, guys. Everything else works fine. I really like the phone. The software side of it is really fast, nippy, and the camera is good enough for most of the things that I would need it for. So yeah, I can recommend it to you guys, and I can recommend it to my friends and family, and I actually also did. So if you liked the video, click the like button and subscribe. Feel free to ask any questions in the comment section down below. And thanks for watching. Have a nice day.